All right, so we're doing this in order once again. Just as a reminder, this is definitely early. We only have like 2 weeks into this game, playing 1v1s with each other and whatnot. So
Yeah, I forget the game's not that old.
yeah, but this is just based off like all the 1v1s we've ever had, or all the 1v1s I've ever experienced too. So let's get into Archer. Archer 1v1. Definitely not high. I would. It's really hard for me to put Archer at mid. Like, should I put him at mid? Because it's like I would put him at unsure, but mid or low. Because like, there's just a lot of characters that can approach him despite the arrows.
He's the thing about Archer in 1v1 is you gotta really know how to push your enemies away, and that's the hard part.
It's
I mean,
really
it's that
it's
that's the tricky part of it.
because most of the cast can just ignore it.
Just get into his face.
What the hell happened to you? I heard a little
What?
beep. I don't know. For like a split second, I heard a little beep, like a little
Oh, my bad.
not a beep, but sounded like
Oh,
something.
oops.
It's okay. It's not entirely your fault. It was just
You
a
just
little.
heard it.
It was just an unfortunate accident. Anyways, we got Artis is definitely high. I would put him high, just like 2v2.
Oh yeah, easily. Cause chunky.
Yeah, Chonky, you can't fight Chonky because once you get Chonky out, it's like you're forcing your opponent to jump or guard. And if you're forcing your opponent to guard, that's a free approach option. If you're forcing your opponent to go up, it's a free approach option, but in the air. So, yeah. And that's enough said. All right. We got Waddle D, Waddle Bandana D,
Top tier.
top, of course. There's gonna be a little spoiler to what I'm gonna rename this to. I'm pretty sure you're gonna see it coming. But let's move on to Beam. The reason why, okay, also the reason why he's top is because 1v1, there's nothing to get in your way of throwing into throwing projectiles. He has a lot of mix-up options. As I've seen you do, your mix-up options with Bandana D are insane.
I'm still like figuring out things.
You're still, and that's the scary part. You're still figuring it out, and I get surprised. There's a lot of cancels you can do with Bandana D, which is insane. So
Yeah, I'm still figuring out how to do like the aerial canceling.
yeah, the
Once
move
they get
cancel.
down, I'll be ready.
Yes, sir. Okay, Beam. I'd say mid for sure. Because, like I said, I think mid would be like one of those characters that like just destroys Archer because you also have projectiles. You have not only projectiles, but a projectile that can approach.
The thing about Beam is there isn't too much that the thing about Beam from when I played is like, there's a lot you can do, but it's still pretty limited.
Yeah. The reason why I say that is like, Beam loses to aerial approach options. Because
It
Beam,
doesn't.
sure, Beam has his own aerial approach, but he has nothing that can stop an opponent from going behind him. Like
Beam
absolutely
doesn't
nothing.
have the best. Beam doesn't have the best aerial
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, his only good aerial move is an aerial move that attacks grounded opponents,
Yeah.
which is rough, to say the least. Which makes him better than Archer, because Archer needs to be kind of grounded to do stuff sometimes.
At least he can do well on the ground, but still,
Yeah.
It's still pretty limited.
Yeah. And Beetle, mid. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe mid. Because if you can get in front of your opponent, you can just grab them all day, which is kind of good, but I feel Wrestler does a better job at what Beetle does, in my opinion.
Wrestler should be high.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to Wrestler in a bit. Bell in 1v1, high. Not top, but high. Because you can't really take advantage of activating all the items in matchmaking. So your opponent just has to play patiently. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Bomb should be high.
Bomb, yeah. Below, I would probably place Bell. No, not no. No. No, in between them. Because Bell's pretty much has the kit, has like one of the best kits in the game. Because he has a shield that no one else has. A shield that you can activate in the air and that damages people. So that's kind of why, like, you could still kind of fight. You could definitely fight Bomb, but I'm not sure about Artist, because Artist can at least condition Bell. Any character with projectiles can condition Bell, but you gotta work for it, which makes Bell a really scary character, because Bell has projectiles of his own, which makes Bell high tier worthy. Cutter, mid.
Who mid?
Yeah. Cutter. I'm just throwing him mid.
Makes sense.
Right away.
The amount of things he can do is still pretty limited.
Yeah, because he can zone, but that's kind of it. And the only thing he can do in front of people is just like hyper cutter. When you can, he has a downer option, which is always nice to have, I guess. Which I will probably put him above Beetle, honestly, because he also has a down attack, down air. There you go. Fighter, high tier, probably below Bell, but definitely high tier. There's nothing really much to say about that because he has Hadouken and all these approaching attacks, and a good anti-air, which not a lot of characters have. So Gooey, oh, Maddie, where do you think Gooey's gonna be?
Top.
Yay, you answered correct.
It's a lot. Most of the side characters are top tier.
Matt, don't screw it. Okay.
Think about it, it's true.
I know.
Hammer's high. High.
Yes, for sure. Hammer spin to win.
He spins, damages you, he charges to kill you. That's already enough.
DDD top, because he's Hammer, but better in 2v2. Because he has a projectile, and he has more health. His only downside is being hit a lot, but that is something that can be overlooked if you can space correctly with DDD. Because DDD just hits like a truck in the same way Hammer does.
Yep.
And he has more moves. DDD has more moves too. He has his up B from Smash.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Which has a hitbox on his way up and on his way down, not just on his way up. Or not just on his way down. Magler, guess where he's going?
Top.
You ding.
Too obvious.
Oh, we got Meta Knight. Guess where he's gonna go next?
Personally, part of me think he should be high tier.
Are you sure about that?
Okay,
in a 1v1 when there is no items, zoning is somewhat controllable.
We did Bomb versus Meta Knight. Remember how that went?
That's because it's a matchup specific. Okay.
Imagine him dealing with others.
If this was okay, let me explain something about Bomb Kirby. Bomb Kirby is a very setup-based character. You can trap your opponents if they don't have projectiles. Meta Knight does not have the best projectile in the game compared to like all these other characters. But if you want to compare the matchup, Meta Knight beats every single other Kirby except Bomb. That's not something Bomb has an accomplishment over. That's why he's top.
Alright, I mean, okay, I guess that's fair. Only one win matchup, that's it.
Pretty much. Like one of the best matchups. Okay, has actually less projectiles than Snow Kirby. His beam, yeah. His beam sword doesn't seem like it goes fast or it's either fast or long. But either way, his biggest strength that almost no other character has is his aerial mobility, which rivals that of Magolor and Gui. One less because no Puff. Yeah, one less, of course. But Meta Knight doesn't really need Puff because his aerial attack, his like little swing he does in the air, has quite the range. It's pretty much just as good as Puff. Well, that's kind of why he's pretty much up there. And his Shadow Loop is his best. Shadow Loop is his best attack because it takes him everywhere and it has a hitbox. And you can pressure your opponent into the wall if you get a hit. And you could shark people. What other character can do that? So that's and just to kind of spoiler alert what this is, I'm gonna change it from top to buddy tier.
Buddy tiers.
That
buddies.
Yeah. That's
buddies are pretty much top tier.
Yeah. Buddy tier. There you go. Buddy tier. That's the tier we're having. Because in a 1v1 there's really nothing to like get in your way. I would say DD is probably like the worst buddy, in my opinion. Using the Hammer and DDD were placed so high here, given that I overheard that some friends saying that Hammer was worst ability. I don't know if they haven't been using it. Okay. That is so bizarre to hear. Because Hammer Curry carries the same fundamentals he had in his best game, being Superstar. He has an incredible damage output, and his aerial is probably like the safest, or one of the safest non-projectile approaching options in the game. That following that being Meta Knights and Sword, but you can't do that for both aerials. Your walking aerial, because with Hammer and DDD, your walking aerial and your running aerial are almost the same, and they both do a lot of damage. So that's pretty much why Hammer is insane. He's probably struggles against Bell, but against like the rest of the cast, Hammer can safely approach because he can just shield pressure you for days because of his slow moves and not much of a range compared to like Staff or Whip. Hammer felt better in DX than 2 to me. Probably. Like, okay, yeah, in a meta where there wasn't too much range. Obviously, okay. I can make the argument that Hammer doesn't really lose to Staff. It's an even matchup. Because if you understand, Staff, in my opinion, is like the ultimate noob killer. But he's the easiest to understand once you understand his entire kit. He becomes a textbook character to fight once you understand his kit. DX competitively? Who did? I played it a lot. Like I played it locally with friends, with a lot of friends. So anyone I knew who had a 3DS. But that's kind of about it. We did a lot of 1v1s. It wasn't like too in depth of a game, but we had fun with what we had. Hammer was still, Hammer in that game is deadly. and it still isn't here. For like the pretty much the same reasons. But yeah, I kind of want to move up to Ninja.
Low tier.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Even in 1v1, he's still not the best.
Yeah. Well, no. I don't think Ninja's... No, Bushido. Okay, I'm not gonna do your character that bad. Because at least in 1v1, you can kind of control some projectiles, but... You're not gonna win against Magalore. If you're Ninja. I'll say that much. He can fight... Ninja? Okay, if we want to do specific matchups... If you want to do specific matchups, he can definitely fight all the characters that do not have a projectile pretty well. For example, Wrestler. That matchup is doable. Other matchups. Fighter, kinda doable. Kinda. I say kinda. Beetle, definitely doable. He can definitely fight Beetle. He could even, dare I say, he can fight Archer. So I don't think he's that bad, but there's really nothing much I can say to make him mid. Large moveset and a few clips I saw of Ninja, like his big boy ability. I was like, wait. Style clip between Wrestler and Ninja. That was... Yeah. Maybe we'll see because it's Large moveset and because I saw the Ninja was like big boy ability, yeah. It's... And he has a good counter. He's a very technical character, which I can't really put Ninja in low in a 1v1. Keeps looking at Beam thinking it's mid-mid. I honestly don't blame you. I don't blame you. Parasol. Parasol, where can I put you? I don't think Parasol's that bad of a character, to be honest. He has a good approach option, but that's kind of about it.
I would say mid. Parasol.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like Parasol's dash attack is insane. It has so much travel distance. Probably one of like the most travel distance dash attacks I've ever seen. Like out of the entire cast.
Yes, Parasol's despite his dash attack, I mean it has some other things, but it's not that bad. Parasol.
Yeah. The only thing that makes me really upset is that Gui has a better Parasol than Parasol. being up air. His up tilt or whatever. I think it's also his up air. Gui's up air. Which throws at a Parasol. Parasol dash attack is gonna be so toxic. Yeah. But that's kinda like it's his best move, but that's kinda his defining feature is dash attack. His up soul. His up soul, if you will. Soul. Up soul. I'll put it that way. Alright, staff. It's very easy to predict where staff is gonna be.
High tier.
Yeah. I don't know if he's like... See, that's the thing. Like, he's a noob. Staff is definitely a noob slayer. If you don't know how to fight Staff, you're kind of dead. But
yeah, you gotta know how to deal with Staff, like his pogo stick and his other gimmicks.
Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of mix-up options compared to Bandanity that you can do, which kind of makes Staff easier to read in comparison to Waddle Dee. But if you can't read Staff, he'll just hit you really hard with the stick. Sword. I will put him in unsure higher mid.
Just Staff or
Sword.
Sword's probably one of the most balanced characters in the game.
Yeah.
He's pretty basic.
Yeah, that's the thing about Sword. He doesn't really have Like, he's too balanced to the point where even in his losing matchups, the gap doesn't feel so big, and neither does his winning matchups.
Yeah.
Because he has a good dash attack. He has a projectile one that you have to charge though. But he lacks the mobility that Meta Knight has. That's basically what he lacks, is Meta Knight's mobility.
Mhm.
Which is kind of unfortunate.
But he's overall pretty basic to use. It's not
He
that
is.
hard.
He is. You just gotta know his one question before I go. Do you think if Mirror was in this game Mirror would be in? Wait, I want to read the rest of. I want to read the rest of. Even if it was nerfed from Robobot, I think it would be Nightmare for Cutter and Bomb. Yeah, even if Mirror was nerfed, I think Mirror's kit is probably really good. Even if it was nerfed. Like, I think Mirror would probably end up being a good high tier. Like, there's no way I can see Mirror being low. Like, for example, like, they can nerf things like making the duplicate move slower, so it'll be a little bit easier to react to, and slightly easier to punish. But the move itself looks really good because it covers a lot of space. Like, I don't know if the team wants to put an ability that could have such an overbearing presence on even casual. Yeah, that's true. Because you could spam that sliding mirror attack all day, which is probably like the one thing that would have to be nerfed if it would have to be in this game. Guess where water's going. Hey Matt, guess where water's going.
Guess where who's going?
Water.
High tier.
Yay! Ding 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 ding.
So obvious.
You don't. That's the thing.
You can just spam projectiles and dash attack, and that's usually enough.
See, that's enough for someone who doesn't know how to play water. If you know how to play water, water has dangerous combos. I don't know if you know this, but in addition to his corner pressuring, you can actually do his like down B attack. His down up B has insane range, so you could catch opponents who want to escape in the air. Similar to like Ninja's copy ability, Ninja's flower bloom attack, but you know, with a character that has way more chasing abilities and water.
Water's really good at chase down.
Yeah, definitely. Water has chase down. Water has projectiles. Water can approach in the air while damaging the ground, which is not plus a good combo game. There's not like a lot of characters that have that. There's not a lot of Kirby's that have all that, which is really scary. But you can just get away with just keep away if you don't know how to use water. But in the hands of a good water Kirby, it's really scary because I've seen clips. I've seen clips on Twitter of what water Kirby can do, and it's insane. Water Kirby is definitely a combo character, and no one realizes this.
I think you play right in, yeah.
Yeah.
You could see a lot of water combo.
Yeah.
Water Kirby combo setups.
Yeah, because you could. Yeah, because like you mentioned, you could push people to the corner, and once you have corner, you can just do water combos. Like his down B and his down up B is insane. You could combo that into each other, which is insane. What if water had poison from Bobobot like as a rare hat? I would like, yeah, water. I always thought about water and poison being extremely similar. But
water
yeah,
and poison Kirby.
Yeah, because they're both in different games, but they're basically almost the same as far as their moveset goes. They're like think of them as like Echo Fighters, Echo Fighter abilities.
Yeah, I can see that.
All like minor differences, but yeah. Whip is going to go in the best mid tier. Probably the best mid tier, in my opinion. Because his damage output, but he has no projectile, but he has a command grab, but it's a command grab that you have to charge with.
It doesn't have. It doesn't like.
He has a good
this
anti-air.
whip does a lot of damage. It doesn't have the execution.
Right. He doesn't have, and he doesn't have mobility. Isn't that great? So he's like that character that can output a lot of damage and output huge hitboxes, but he lacks the mobility to go with it. But and obviously he gets outspaced by staff, so like even with those huge hitboxes, you're kind of just stuck where you are, and staff can just outrange you.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And like other projectile characters. But but once you get in on somebody with whip, it's like your HP goes down the drain.
Oh,
in a similar sense that wrestler, which I'm about to talk about.
Oh dear, wrestler, high tier.
Yeah, for sure.
The amount of damage output he does, the amount of damage he does, oh boy. You don't want to get grabbed.
Oh yeah, wrestler does not care about Bell's shield.
You can just grab it.
Yeah.
I think of it as grab, beats, block.
Exactly. Which wrestler is like one of those characters you can really condition people, and he has a really good startup option with his landing. With his landing kick. Because it has a good hitbox, and you could just follow it up with the grab if you want. Well, that's pretty much what you kind of wanted to approach. So, despite him not having projectiles, he has decent approach options, and if you can read your opponent's movement, it's over. It's like over. It's like one good read is enough to take out half your opponent's health.
I could see that.
Wrestler Kirby, in my opinion, has like the best damage output in a single combo.
Yes, that's a lot of. He has ridiculous damage output.
Absolutely, which is why I pretty much put him at high tier. He is a good option because Wrestler is the only Kirby that does not need a projectile to be high tier in a 1v1. Because if you can play patient, you can outplay the projectile characters.
Remember, it still gets me that Yo-Yo beats most artist Kirby projectiles except for Chunky.
Yeah, which is kind of bad.
Except for the Chunkers.
I would put Yo-Yo as like the worst high tier maybe, or maybe best mid tier. Because Yo-Yo does not, even if Yo-Yo has good range, he has no projectile, but he has a good approach options, but he does not have a good landing option. But he can poke you out for days, but he has to work for a combo. He does have a command grab, which is really good if you want to shield pressure people into a command grab. Which is kind of why I want to put him in high tier, but like, yeah, if all he does is just poke his yo-yo at people, I don't know. The aerial walk the dog, yeah, he does have aerial walk the dog. It's like that's not enough to justify it, because all you have to do is, you know, even Beam Kirby can approach that, and Cutter can approach that too, kind of, yeah. Staff Kirby can just go above that, so it's really rough. You can fight Bell Kirby because he doesn't need to approach Bell Kirby, like not at least not up close, but he still struggles against Bell Kirby's other attacks, so it's really rough. It's like, yeah, he has a close matchup with Artist and Staff. He can struggle against characters like Water and Bell and Fighter and Hammer too, you know. maybe Bomb, maybe. I think Yo-Yo beats Bomb, but like that's like the only high tier I see Yo-Yo beating, like absolutely. And even slightly. Like I don't think Yo-Yo is worth putting in high tier. But he's probably like the best mid tier. Like best mid tier because you can actually like trap people, and he has a good probably one of the best anti-airs in the game.
Gabriel mentioned Ariel Walk the Dog.
Yeah, it's like Aerial Walk a Dog. It's kind of it's a nice little gimmick attack, but it's really good with platforms. And if you're gonna play on a stage like Waddle Dee's train tracks, probably not worth it. Probably good for like bubbly clouds, green greens, or not green greens, green gardens. Not really a lot of stages you can make use of it in a good manner, which is kind of why it's Yo-Yo needs a good stage. Yo-Yo needs a good stage to excel.
Oh.
So it's other than that, he kind of really struggles against like a lot of the high-end top tier characters. He definitely beats like most of the mid and like and like the unsure stuff, even the sword, in my opinion. But this is kind of where I stand with the tier list. Is like ideally you could have put Ninja in low, but I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's like really bad because he has winnable matchups against characters that don't have projectiles.
Yeah.
And he has counter. And he's really hard to use in my opinion. He's like water Kirby, but really hard to use. And not a good he has a good landing option too, as his down air. It's not the best down air, but it's one that gets you in the ground quickly. Like if the air is a danger zone, you can immediately go to the ground with down air, which is always nice to have. Which is why I don't think Ninja's like all that bad in 1v1. But he struggles to approach. He struggles to approach against Whip. Struggles to approach against maybe Beam. Struggles. He loses against Water. I don't know how. Loses against Magolor. I don't really know how well he can top that. But yeah, that's kind of. That's basically it. I think. I don't know what else to say. Like this is kind of where I stand with. Actually, did I tier Buddy tier correctly? I think I did. I think Magolor. I think Magolor is definitely best.
Buddy tier does look accurate.
Yeah. Magolor is the best because you have the whole stage to yourself. Your moveset is the stage. That's pretty much all you can put it. It's pretty much the best way I can put it. Meta Knight, you can move throughout the entire stage at will. Gooey, you can fly across the stage and throw projectiles at people. DDD doesn't really have the luxury that top 3 do, but has all the mix-up options in the world. And good range and whatnot. DDD is the best heavy hitter in the game. With a projectile. I say with a projectile, because Wrestler and Hammer do not have that luxury that DDD has.
DDD does hit pretty hard, so it makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much my short explanation of Buddy tier. And where I stand with high and mid. Sword could be... See, I don't think Sword can be mid. He probably could be at bottom of high, but top of mid. But it can go either way. He's very balanced as to his matchup. Because he has a balanced matchup against Meta Knight, believe it or not.
Wait, who does?
Sword.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't matter. Yeah, because it doesn't matter how Meta Knight approaches you. Like, Sword Kirby can just charge his Sword Beam when he needs it the most, and Meta Knight and Kirby can just anti-air, which is basically his Meta Knight's kryptonite in that matchup.
That's what I kind of thought for Sword Kirby. He's like one of the most basic characters to learn.
Yeah. Meta Knight definitely has more options in the matchup, but not by much. Meta Knight will always have more options than the entire cast, just because he controls the airspace. See, the difference between Magolor and Meta Knight controls the air. Magolor controls the stage. It's pretty much the difference between the two.
That makes sense, yeah.
So yeah, that's... And Gui comes close to doing both, but only so far.
Gui in the air is so frustrating to deal with.
Yes.
Like, legit. It actually is.
Because you can just spam like the dark lightning projectiles. I forgot what they're called.
Pretty much just spam most of the projectiles, and that's already good enough.
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand. That's pretty much it. That's all. That's where I want to end.